Good evening. It's Monday night. North Bank Summit Show is back, and we're going to discuss all things Arsenal and look back at their game at the Etihad yesterday, where sadly we come undone by an Erling Haaland winner, which is going to be quite painful to discuss. We will obviously discuss everything regarding coming out of that game yesterday evening, and we will look ahead to a massive game on Saturday with Newcastle at home, and we'll discuss all things regarding the title race, which is coming down to its final furlong. So before we start, I just want to say thank you to everyone who's in the chat already, and a warm welcome to Ryan.
Liam, it's been eventful. It's been eventful, hasn't it? Oh dear.
It's gonna be pretty painful talking about this, but we're gonna do it because that's what we do.
Yeah, no hiding from us.
I'm not sure we do it best, but we do it. But yeah, we're gonna obviously have a deep dive. Obviously, any questions in the chat tonight, guys? As I said, we'll do a Q&A. Any questions you want to ask, obviously fire them over, and we're going to try and make it as positive as possible as well throughout the show. So let's just do some good evenings. Good evening to Margaret, who's in the chat. Good to see you on. Good evening to G. Good evening to you. Good evening to Luke Barwick, who's in the on as well. Good to see you on, mate. Andrew Mayert's in the house. Good to see you on. Pete G's in the house. Hello all. Good to see you on as well, mate. Who else we got in here? Catherine's in as well. Hello. Good to see you on. Darius is in. Evening all. Good to see you on, mate. So yeah, it's good to see quite a few people on already. Gab's in the house. Yo. Good. Not sure it's too good to see you, mate, but then again,
when he can hardly talk, let's just say
then
that.
Again.
What do you see who else is in the chat?
Yeah, definitely. Who's in as well? Here he is. Here he is. Not sure if I should risk being in the chat. Scotty's in here. Not sure you should either, mate. But good evening to you all, and good evening to Lauren as well, who's in the chat. So good evening, Lauren. Yeah, let's go straight into it, mate. Obviously, massive game yesterday. I've got to be honest with you, I don't know about you, mate, but that's the worst build-up to a game that I can remember for a long, long time.
Yeah, anxiety was at another level yesterday for going into that. And again, as bad as even the form, in terms of all comps, the form we've been in since the final, I tried a positive spin and all that. I still have that positive spin, so to speak, because there was a performance there last night in terms of the team that actually decided, but for the majority, played to their strengths, and we did ask questions, and we were just unlucky with the post and other bits and pieces. It was what it was in the end. I can't blame the players for not turning up last night, basically. So, and I'm sort of holding on to, ironically, how Man City won their first league title in 2012, being at obviously with 5 games to go? Was it 5 or 4 games to go? After they played us, they lost 1-0. They're 8 points off of Man United, all conquering Man United that been there, got the T-shirt, experienced Man United, and the experienced Man United threw away an 8-point lead and lost it on goal difference in the end. And I'm just holding on to that now. I think it's still possible. This is the thing that most people are acting like it's all but done in terms of not just within our fan base, but within other rivals. Obviously, Man City think they've done it because obviously Man City fans have the arrogance. It is what it is. But you've got other rivals and all that. Oh, it's done. Well, sorry, but we are still top of the table by 3 points. I know it more likely will change by Wednesday, but again, we can fix that come Saturday. We've got winnable game. I'd rather have to. This is the weird thing with the bad form that we've had going into yesterday's game. These last 5 games now. I know we've got a big semi-final in between, so we'll get on as well later. I'd rather have the 5 games we've got than the 5 games they've got.
It's quite interesting. I was just about to say, it's quite interesting when I looked at their 6 games for them. Anyway, you take Burnley out of it.
Yeah.
You look at the games, and actually, I did look at them, and I thought, actually, right, Crystal Palace are probably the worst team to play at home out of most teams you want to play.
Especially if they've got a final to look forward to.
Then you look at Brentford. They've had a solid season. Okay, they're not winning a lot of games, but I tell you what, they're not doing is losing. And they've obviously come a cropper to some big sides this year. And you look at the Bournemouth and Everton games; they're massive, aren't they? They're massive games. And yet again, like I know Everton lost yesterday to a 100-minute goal against Liverpool Derby, but I think Dave Moyes would want to wanted to put his team out there, and I think he'd want to do Arteta a little bit of a favour, if I'm being totally honest.
Well, also they've got European football they can try and get as well for themselves for next season. So,
and then you look at the Bournemouth game. This is a team that hasn't lost since January. Sold their best player, not lost. The only thing that worries me is that the manager's leaving now, but they've continued to keep winning.
Yeah, but I say look at Saturday. Didn't phase the players on Saturday against Newcastle.
So, like the game, you're right. The games they're not easy, and then they got Aston Villa last game, which the ironic thing about Aston Villa is probably actually think about it more and more. It's probably the last team that I want them to be playing last game of the season. If I'm being totally honest, because they're potentially get what we need now is Nottingham Forest to somehow knock Aston Villa out the Europa League for Aston Villa then have to play to get into the Champions League.
Yeah, get the Champions League spot itself, yeah.
Because that game falls a bit crap for us because actually that Aston Villa game, if they get to the Europa Cup final, falls the Wednesday before the last game of the season. So if they win the Europa Cup, they're going to be on cloud 9 and they're not really going to give a toss.
Yeah.
I think for me, and I'm just going to go on to Sam Wilson's question, and I guess my only question is, do either of you still have faith? I don't really understand why I shouldn't have faith at the moment because, as you said, the performance yesterday was a massive improvement to what we see at Bournemouth. Look, against Bournemouth, I was angry. I was livid. Yesterday, I just felt that I don't think we got the rub of the green, but at the same sentence, and this is my biggest frustration, is that I feel like these half-time team talks, whatever's happening in these half-time team talks, they're having no effect in the start of the second half of games. So you look at the Bournemouth game last week, they come out flat. And then yesterday they come out and they just let Man City have the ball for like 15, 20 minutes. And it's quite ironic. Yeah, we had two great chances after they probably had the ball for the first 15 minutes. And look, you're talking centimeters. Do you know what I mean? Like if that Eze strike goes just even a fraction inside, right? That's going in off the post, and that's what you're dealing with. And I do believe if that ball goes in, do you know what I mean? I think we at least get something out of that game. And it's more for me yesterday, just a painful frustration that actually we did have 5 big chances yesterday. We had some brilliant chances, but the problem of the story for me is that actually all season long we haven't created. But actually yesterday we did create chances and we create big chances. Like you look at Havertz going through from the Odegaard pass. Do you know what I mean? I think it's like an 84% that usually that would go into a goal. You look at the Eze shot, then you look at the Gabriel deflection, then you look at the Havertz header at the end. Like these are really, really good chances, and this is the difference between in the top level for me. And this is where we've come a cropper over the years that we just haven't had that killer instinct. And I don't think our recruitment's been good enough, if I'm being totally honest, for years, mate, in terms of the forward players we're getting in. And that's not just looking at central players, that's looking at the whole picture.
Yeah.
I thought Adewaki yesterday, appalling. I honestly thought he was the worst player on the pitch in the first half. Didn't think he was good enough whatsoever.
I was surprised he started. I think the handle sort of because we're not. It's all close daggers with Saka. We don't know exactly what the injury is officially because it's close in daggers with Arteta. He was never gonna play Max again. People are going play Max. You're never gonna play 16-year-old in a game of that magnitude. You're never gonna start him in a game of that magnitude because that's a lot of pressure to put on a kid. Period. So if Noni hadn't been available, he would have been forced to play Martinelli on the right hand side, and then and again, even Martinelli came on last when he came on. Again, he's just ramming home why we do need that upgrade. But I think the hand was forced. I think he tried to make Noni play for the pain for as long as possible, basically.
I just don't think his performances are good enough, mate.
No.
I just don't think his performances are good enough. And I had this conversation here right after. I tell you what frustrates me a little bit. I had a conversation with someone before the Southampton game, and I said if Max had a really good game against Southampton, and by the way, right, this is even before I knew Saka was injured. I said I'd play Max at Southampton, see how he gets on, play Saka in the Sporting game. But if Max proves himself again in that Southampton game, I'd give him the opportunity at Bournemouth. I'd give him the opportunity at Bournemouth to put himself in the hat for it. Do you know what I mean? And give himself a start. Because look, you got to remember, right? This is a guy that was the best player on the pitch at Mansfield out of all the Arsenal players. He was the best player on the pitch at Southampton out of all the Arsenal players, and he come on and did what he did against Everton. And I felt that it needed a bit of a brave decision, because with the amount of games we're playing, I think it could have done Madueke a bit of a could have supported him as well, because we had the 2 Champions League games in between. And I just get this feeling with him, right, that he's not the player, right, that can consistently play game in, game out.
No, he needs to be rotated,
Do you know what I mean? Like, he just can't play. Like for me, he is that rotational kind of player. Like, when you've got like 3 games in the week, do you know what? You look at your games and you think, oh, wait a minute. Especially when Saka's out, we're playing in them Champions League games because actually, like, he's got the experience there. But we'll look at a game like the Bournemouth game to give Max that chance. Like, if it ain't working at half time, you can easily change it. But I just don't feel that we've given him the opportunity. And the problem is, right, you're then expecting him to come on and work miracles, when actually give him a start. Give him a start, because when you have given him a start, he's never let you down. And I know he's 16 years old, and I know like this is not the big whole piece. Of course, it's not. But I watch players like Martinelli. Like I want to talk about him yesterday anyway. Like, his first touch on that ball nearly sets Man City up a counter-attack to score. His performances have not been good enough for about 2-3 years. And then rest assured, when they do score, Odegaard's directing him out to get on Nico Riley, and he decides to ignore him.
Yeah, nowhere near.
Right. These are the critical moments for me. These are the critical moments. And I hate to say it, that people like Trossard, Martinelli, I don't want to say Madueke as much, but I'm getting to the point where I am going to say it. They're getting opportunity after opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And all I see, right, is them letting Arteta down every single time. Now, this is not me defending Arteta whatsoever either, because that will be another subject for probably a little bit later on in terms of my kind of thoughts on Arteta at the moment. But they're not helping Arteta out in the slightest. And I don't know about you, mate. There's certain players that I don't even think are actually putting in the complete effort, like your Trossards and Martinelli's. Like
they're going hiding. I mean, Trossard. I mean, again, he's a not just Premier League experienced proven player, but he's one of the most experienced heads in our squad. And we've said since we signed him, in terms of his finishing, on his day, he's one of our best finishers. But it's too often now where he's even, I've played the last year and a half, even going into last season, there's games where he goes hiding. Again, he's one of them players where, in the system, in that what we need him to do at Arsenal, he's not a starter. He doesn't do well starting. He's a super sub basically. But he thinks he's a starter. But he gets a couple of runs in terms of a bench. He'll then play a couple of games as a starter, and he'll put a run together in terms of playing X amount of games, not put the performance in, but he has a kick off over it, and it's frustrating because he's one of the players you need to turn up. You expect to turn up.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It is frustrating, especially when you got, again, we mentioned him already, Max. He was a 16. Again, we keep saying about his age, but it's true. A 16-year-old getting ready to take his GCSEs in the next few weeks. Yeah, he's revising day in, day out, doing all that, training as well with the team. But he's putting in the performances that a senior pro should be doing. like a Trossard, like a Martinelli. Martinelli had that one season in our first title push. He had that great season. Since then, he's just put season now. He's progressively getting worse. And
He reminds me of Theo Walcott. I'm not saying in a disrespectful way, because Theo Walcott was 3 times the player. If we're being totally honest, but he reminds me that actually he's declining every single season, and what will happen is if we don't sell him soon, we're going to end up getting 20 million like we got for Theo Walcott.
Yeah.
When actually we could have got 40, 50 million if we sold him at the right time. And for me, him and Madueke, I'll tell you what I think here, right, in terms of like the way they play. They're just headless. I don't think they've really got a clue what they're going to do. So when you get them in the final third, all they're going to do, right, more Madueke than Martinelli. Madueke will try and beat a player. Martinelli don't even try and beat a player nowadays. He doesn't even try and beat a player. He will look to go and beat a player. Then what he'll do, he'll check back each time. And he'll check back and he'll check back.
What I called it is a deer in headlights. He's just, like him, both of them, they get to the edge of the box or on either side, and then they're going to go, what do I do now? And they either run it into trouble or run the ball out of play, or they cut back and give the ball away anyway.
I was thinking yesterday, mate, the only good thing that had come out of Trossard's feet was that cross, which, to be fair to him, was a worldie, yeah? And I sat there and thought after the game, when was the last time that we delivered a cross like that?
From anyone.
When was the last time exactly. When was the last time we delivered a cross like that? And you look at it, right, and you look at the positions that we should have probably been looking at in the summer. Look, we all knew we needed a left winger. We all knew that. It weren't nothing new. It wasn't nothing new. We knew that Trossard and Martinelli weren't good enough to start games last season. Now, I think maybe part of the problem is that actually Trossard kicked into the season pretty well. And he started to get himself a bit of mojo, didn't he? He started to get himself a little bit of form. But for me, Trossard's no more than half a season for that kind of player. And you have to manage Trossard's minutes. And I feel that actually the more minutes he's got, like you said, the worse he's got. And I see a player now that, if I'm being totally honest with you, when he come on the other day against Sporting Lisbon, he just looks scared. He looks scared against Bournemouth. And I'm just like, you're a 30-year-old player, mate. You're not like Max Dowman, who's 16 years old. And look, we shouldn't really be talking about Max Dowman in any light at the moment. We shouldn't be talking about him playing gap minutes. We shouldn't be talking about him starting games. But I think this is quite damning in terms of the wing play that we've actually got. And I think it's fundamentally a big problem for us. Now, I don't think the midfield's much better, if I'm being totally honest, at the moment. I'm very much on the belief, in my own personal opinion, that Arteta should have switched it up after the Brighton game. The writing was on the wall, mate. Like, the writing was clearly on the wall. We scraped through against Chelsea with 10 men, okay, against 10 men where they literally battered us in injury time. The nerves were clearly there. The nerves were showing in that game. We then go to Brighton and somehow shit our way to a 1-0 victory where they battered us for 97 minutes. And we scored the most luckiest deflecting goal. And then we were absolutely poor against Everton until like the instruction of Downham and Eze. And we got 2 late goals through some brilliance from Downham. But the writing was on the wall, mate. And the writing's been on the wall with this midfield for months. And for me, like, I'm quite interested to see what you say, because I'm going to go into G's question first. I'll probably give Odegaard a 6.5 out of 10 yesterday. And that's not me criticising him. That's me saying that that's nowhere near Odegaard's level.
No.
But, and there's a big but, there was a vast difference yesterday because Odegaard was in that team. And what I watched was actually, in terms of a positive, that actually, if Odegaard plays football and Havertz plays, I think there's opportunities, right, to probably destroy the last 5 teams, if I'm being frankly honest. If we play like we did yesterday, in that first 30, 35, 40 minutes, I don't see many teams handling us. And I'll go back to the games that we beat Crystal Palace last year, 5-2. West Ham, we beat I think no, it was Palace 5-1, West Ham 5-2. We beat them 6-0 the season before. That was the style of football we played. We played that press, and Odegaard was key to that press, and it opened up loads of opportunities. Now, the interesting thing for me, and I'm interested in what you say about this. Arteta's got to score goals now, yeah? He's got to win 5 out of 5 games, but he's got to try and outscore Man City as well.
Yeah.
Our best player is Victor Gyökeres in terms of scoring goals.
As a striker, yeah.
As a striker.
Yeah.
So how do we work this now? How do we work this? Is there a way that we work this where Odegaard, Havertz and Gyökeres get into the same team? Or is it that actually Havertz starts up front and Gyökeres comes on last 30 minutes of games? And it also, where do we equate with Eze? Because for me, this is the other piece. I would personally take Zubimendi out of the team for the home games and put Declan Rice in the 6. And I would play 2 further advanced players. So can we play Odegaard and Havertz, them 2 players, with Victor Gyökeres further forward and play Eze on the left?
Mm-hmm.
Or do we play Eze in the middle of Odegaard and then trust someone like Martinelli and Trossard, which I think for me now is pretty much, I'm not sure we can do that.
First off, Zubimendi, he's knackered. We saw it after a while yesterday. His levels just, he started off well, but again, because he's playing so many minutes, the levels dropped, and that's part of the reason why their winning goal happened, because he tracks as much as he could, and then he just stopped, and then he let the space. And so again, home games, I'm agreeing, but I would drop Declan in the 6. He said that he can play defense. He started off in the centre back, so he can play at defensive anchor DM role. And why not put Odegaard and Havertz? And then I think in this system, Eze out on the left-hand side, with what we've got at the moment for options, he's our best option on the left-hand side, because in the sense of, he'll go out there, but he doesn't just stick out there. He'll drift in and he'll support the Kais and the Martin Odegaards in terms of giving more creativity to Victor, because that's what we've done. We've seen it in patches this season when it's been available. Victor thrives on the creativity of he's number 10. He's a creative player, pushing the ball to him through the lines and him just breaking through it and having the shots, or literally going on the wing like that. Was it early in the season against Leeds? Eze, it wouldn't be Leeds. It wouldn't be Leeds. Who was it against? I'm trying to think who it was against. Forest. Forest. Where Eze was playing on that left-hand side, got the ball on the left, got into the box, pulled it across, and he was there to do what a striker would do, tap it in. He thrives off that, and we've got to play to his strengths as much as he got to play to our strengths. And again, by playing your Kais, your Martins and Eze along, and obviously whoever on the right-hand side along, and Victor up top, you're showing everyone you're going for it, not just us fans and rivals, but you're showing the media as well that no, we ain't giving up on this. We are going toe for toe. We're going to blow for blow, go for 5 wins out of 5, and we're going to do our best to outscore these bastards, basically, these cheating you-know-whats. If he keeps doing the same old, I don't think what Saturday's going to be like. If it's the same old, basically, because there's players that like Zubi that are crying out for a rest. That are not. They've come from a league where they get that winter break, they get that month off, pretty much, a month to 3 weeks off. And you've brought him into a league where that's not the case anymore. We had it briefly, but we don't do that anymore. And you're not rotating him. And even then, have Zubi on the bench, but I would, even on Saturday, instead of bringing him on for Rice, I'd bring Christian Norgard on, because Christian puts in performances as well. When he's been playing this season, be it at centre back or in his natural role, he doesn't look out of place. He does put a shift in. But this is down to Mikel now. He needs to make the right calls at the right time. If he wants this, if he really, really wants this, he talks about the fire and this, that, and the other. He needs to show it now more than ever.
I think 100% that Odegaard needs to stay fit for the remainder of the season.
We saw again. Touching on Odegaard. We saw yesterday, watching the game. You watched the game. and you see what he adds in that midfield in the sense of how he was literally directing people to hold your position, do this, do that. And the one time he didn't, he lost his fucking mind basically, and obviously we saw what happened. But we can't just rely on Declan. When he's not available, we can't just rely on Declan to do that.
No. I think the thing is with Declan, and this is everything I just want to kind of jump on. Like, I just don't think, right, and this is no criticism of Declan Rice, but I think if we want to be that team over the next 3 to 4 years, we need to make a big decision, because how much I love Declan Rice as a player, I just don't think, like, for us to win loads of multiple titles and this and that Declan Rice is the right answer for that number 8, 10, that whatever you want to call it, number 8 role, whatever it is.
Yeah, box to box.
And when I look at Man City yesterday, and they've got Bernardino Silva and Shirky playing in them roles, and then they've got Rodri just sitting there, I sit there and I think, actually, do you know what I mean? I think they're quite lucky, Man City are out the Champions League, if I'm being frankly honest. I think we're quite lucky that they've gone out the Champions League, because, like, you look at them three and you look at their performances yesterday, all three of them, by the way, and they just know each other's system inside out, and they can defend as players, but what they can do, they attack in the right areas and they attack in the right zones. And I just feel like this is the half our problem, that we don't have that player to really link up with, like an Eze or an Odegaard at times. Do you know what I mean? To give them that support. And I do feel like if you had an Odegaard pressing, but you had another player of that quality, so just say you had Shirky, for example, like, you would see a totally different kind of team with us. Do you know what I mean? And for me, Declan Rice is one of the best midfielders in the world, but he's a number 6.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's a number 6. He always has been a number 6. Look, we had Gilberto Silva, who's one of the best number 6 I've ever played for this club. That's what Declan Rice is for me. Like, what I'm trying to say is Declan Rice would be solid there, but he can add that little bit going forward like Gilberto could. Do you know, he weren't like just stuck there as a number 6 that would just sit there like what was his name? The Chelsea guy. He would pretty much just sit there. But Gilberto Silva was one of them players that would sit there. But do you know what? When he got forward, he was dangerous. He could score goals and he could run with the ball. And that for me is Declan Rice all over. That is for me is Declan Rice all over. And I look at it and I think, if he sits in that number 6 and you've got Odegaard and you've got a player like, just say Shirky for example, right? Or just say Eze, Eze, right? And you've got 2 quality wingers, because that's what Man City had yesterday as well. They had 2 good wingers, Semenyo and Doku, who can run at players. It's a totally different ball game. And I feel that the midfield has let us down, if I'm being totally honest with you. Not just for the last few games. I'm talking months. I was at that Liverpool game in that second half. It was one of the worst performances I've seen from the club. And then they backed it up by doing exactly the same thing to Manchester City. Yeah. And that's because, actually, when our midfield, gets done over, when our midfield gets done over, that's pretty much the game gone. And then what happens is we then just try and retreat and just try and defend. And it's like, literally, you're trying to save your lives, basically. You're sitting there and you're thinking, we're not even going to go forward at this point. And it's happened too many times this season. And I just think that he needs to, Mikel Arteta needs to be more braver. He needs to be more braver. I felt yesterday at times, especially in the second half, we needed to be more braver. And I'm watching us and I'm thinking, there's the ball to play forward there, play it forward, and then it's checked back. And then it's checked back again. And then it goes back to David Raya. Then by that point, he hoofs the ball down the pitch right? Kai Havertz won nearly won every header yesterday, by the way. But 50-50s, yet again, is another area that I just seem to think that we get outdone by most teams. And I think the midfield has really, really disappointingly let us down. And I really think that for him, Mikel Arteta, he had the opportunity after the Brighton game to make a change for the positive. He could have he then looked at the fixtures and thought, well, do you know what? I've got Everton, Bournemouth at home. Do you know what I mean? we get 2 big wins out of there. Let's try and give the team confidence. But we didn't do that. We go into the Sporting Lisbon game, mate, and we're thinking, look, we've got a massive game here. Look, fair dibs, we've got through. But that weren't the performance we wanted to see, mate. A 0-0 draw of Sporting Lisbon.
Far from it.
Do you know what I mean? Like we went into Man City starved, and if we're being totally frankly honest as well with it, like you look at the last 2 goals we've scored, a penalty, which was very fortunate penalty, and basically a ball that got run down that literally could have gone anywhere in that pitch.
Yeah,
it's gone in the back of the net. It's frustrating. It really, really is frustrating. And this is where I'm interested and intrigued to see what Mikel Arteta is going to do now, because he's got to let the shackles off. Right? It's a 5-game shootout, but he's got to try and out score City.
Yeah, literally. But we've been saying, in terms of the midfield, like we've been saying, like certain games, not every you don't have to play Zubi and Rice every game, but it just seems like even in this period where we've had like the quarter-final day in the Champions League and all that, he doesn't, for whatever reason, he doesn't want to relent and just use them games for an experiment. Like we've won the first leg 1-0. Okay, second leg, we've just obviously mentioned about the Bournemouth and all that. I know, but Zubi's clearly he needs to rest. He's having a night off. He's on. Won't mind. Zubi was one of them. Was one of the 2 players that was on a yellow card going into it. So if he picked up another yellow, he would have been suspended for the first leg. Thankfully, nothing happened. So he didn't do what other players did last year. But yeah, he's on the bench just as a name, just as he's there, just to make the numbers. But don't play him. Give him the night off. Declan, you're on the 6. And then obviously you got Christian to fall back on anyway as well, and just go gun ho like we've said, but just about 5 minutes ago. I know Odegaard wasn't available, but you still could have gone with Eze out on the left, Havertz in the number 10, Yoko's up top, and obviously Noni would have started, but then Max on as well, and really go for it. Like put your hand around the throat of Lisbon and really squeeze the life out of them, and try and actually win the game. Because it just seems like conserving energy as well. The performances going into before yesterday, sorry, it was like they're trying to conserve their energy for the next game, just to get them through to the game by game. Just go. This is why every time we drop points since January, since he had that the infamous meeting, I always called it out and say you're talking a load of BS to us. Basically, you're treating us like absolute mugs. Because obviously was it Liverpool? Or was it before Liverpool when you had the meeting? Because I know it was the Leeds game was coming up, and it was that's when he was like
Forest.
It might have been the Forest, yeah. It was the aftermath of Forest because it was 0-0, wasn't it? It was all kicking off. Oh, we've had a meeting and we've decided this is what we're going to do. We're going to play with this, that, and the other. And we again, I think it's fortunate we played. With all due respect to Leeds, we played Leeds and we beat them the way we did. So it took a bit of the pressure off straight away. But we haven't seen the freedom. And he doesn't want to, for whatever reason, relinquish the shackles off the attack and let them play. There's the one thing I'll give Wenger credit for is that when he played the players he had, no matter what their levels were, he had them there for a reason. He believed in them, and he showed it by saying, "Go and attack, play to your best ability, don't go hiding. I believe in you." For whatever reason, and I think it goes back to over the last couple of years where we've obviously not last season, but season before and the season before that, in terms of missing out, throwing away the league the first attempt the way we did, and then missing out by literally, was it a point or two the following season on the last day of the season. I think that's mentally scarred him to the point where he's now going too pragmatic and relying too much on the defence first, attack later, but to the point where the attack is being squeeze of its life, but not in a good way. Where it's like in the good way, it's like squeeze it to let them go.
Yeah.
Where you're squeezing to make them defend, and there's no attack to. By the time they go to attack, they're shattered basically. And it's like there's the passing as well. Take the risk. You've got to take risks if you're going to win the big titles. at some point you do have to take risks. It may backfire sometimes. You have to learn from that. But he's way too pragmatic, and it's in certain games. With all due respect, against your Bournemouths at home, that's back-to-back seasons now. We've never lost to Bournemouth up till last season at home. It's back-to-back seasons where that's come back and bit us on the backside. We've talked about the Fulhams before, the West Ham games of years gone by. The games where we should be going gun-ho, he's even more pragmatic, and that baffles me, because it's pragmatic against your title rival City and Liverpool away from home. You get, because you don't want to lose them games. They're the games you want to get something out of at the very least. But he just wants to be like that every game, and it's mind-numbing. To not just rivals, but in people neutrals outside. But for us, because we're having to watch it game in, game out. But we convince ourselves, if it come May, if it gets us a trophy, it won't bother us, because obviously George Graham and all that. But even George Graham knew when to go for a team when certain teams are other end of the table are never to take him, home or away. He let his team go for it.
What happens if he doesn't win a trophy?
If he doesn't win any trophy, he's got, for me, with the position we was in, because of the take away the League Cup, because the League Cup final, anything can happen. It is what it is. But the fact that we were in a position where we had a full due respect. I know we're away and it's Southampton, but it's Southampton. Full due respect, it's Southampton. We should be winning that game. We should not have gone there. Again, playing pragmatically and playing into their hands. It was ridiculous and naive. But from a league point of view, to have such a lead that we've had for the last few weeks since prior to the final, and in the space of 2 games, pretty much throw it away and go, no, we're going to make it hard for ourselves. If he doesn't win anything from this point, after 4 years now of having that, when he's been backed heavily, the squad we've got, for me, he'd have to go. You'd have to get you then, because other than that, you're then going down the Wenger, where you're having another year where you've got to convince the players this is the place to be with a manager that's not getting you over the line. Have faith. Where for me, as I say, he has to go, and you go and get the manager, because that just tells me he's got a ceiling. He's hit that ceiling, and we're going to keep hitting that ceiling and not breaking through that ceiling until he goes. And we're going to have we've got a great squad here that can win multiple, not just leagues and Champions Leagues, but multiple trophies year in, year out, if they're given the right tools. If he doesn't show he's got the right tools, we go and get someone. Josh, and this is where Josh Kroenke, out of the Kroenkes, he's the one that obviously the face of it all for the club. He's got to show us now how serious he is about wanting to win the league, wanting to win the Champions League. Or is it just a matter of what we saw with Wenger? We've got Champions League, we're doing this. Like, no, we're getting the money for Champions League. That doesn't give us trophies, does it? Though. So go. And there's people go, who do you want then? But honestly, at the moment in time, until things change in the PSG situation there, as far as I'm aware, he's saying he wants to leave. So I'd go and get a Luis Enrique. Go and get your winner. If he's, as I say, if this is his ceiling in terms of Arteta, this is his ceiling, he can't take us no further. Go and get the winning, the proven manager that's a winner, that has proven, not just at PSG, but obviously what he did at Barcelona as well, that he can play great football and get teams over the line. I mean, what he's done recently with PSG, going in there, tearing up the book basically of bringing in, trying to be the French version of Real Madrid, and going, no, we're going to go the young, exciting route, and winning the Champions League to boot. That's what I think we need. That these players, some of these players need a Luis Enrique.
I think I said back in, I'd always remember the Newcastle game away from home when we discussed it, when it was 1-0 down with 60 minutes gone, where it was quite all right that day, wasn't it? And for me, I agree with you. My first port of call would be Luis Enrique. I think you need, if if, and this is a big if first and foremost, if he doesn't bring a trophy into this club by the end of the season, for me, painfully as much as it is to say it, I feel that the trust kind of goes quite a lot. And it goes from the fan base, and it probably goes from within the club as well. To be up for the quadruple back in March 22nd to win nothing would be is nothing short of disastrous, and it's a big stain. I don't care how anyone wants to paint it. You can paint your pretty picture as much as you like. You can tell me this, you can tell me that. It's a big, big stain. I don't understand how any Arsenal fan, is going to enjoy their summer.
Especially with a 9-point lead at that point as well.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where I'm going to come in and criticise Arteta, and I'm going to tell you why. 2 moments now, like in Man City moments, for me, Arteta's not done what he should have done. And I feel that he shows Pep Guardiola too much respect. Too much respect. So the first one is the goalkeeping situation. Mikel Arteta was in no position to not start his best team in that final. He had to get a trophy into this club. It doesn't matter who plays that game. In terms of, it doesn't matter who you upset to put into that final. Your objective is to get the first trophy into this club. Man City were not in a good stage at that time. He had to go for the kill. Pep Guardiola comes out midweek and says Donnaruma's not starting, Trafford is. Kepa starts.
Yeah.
Pep Guardiola, right, has won trophy after trophy. He's a multiple trophy winner.
Yeah.
He's a multiple trophy winner, yeah, right? And he can basically do what he wants because he's got the backing of that. Do you know what I mean? He's basically got the t-shirt. We was in no position that day to start Kepa in that final after his performances previous to that. The previous performance at Mansfield was disastrous. If you watch his boot kicking in that day, it was nothing short of disastrous. Yeah.
As soon as they realised that, they pounced on it.
What?
As soon as they realised that City, they pounced on it.
And even that day, right? He had the opportunity to say, do you know what? And he's backed it up in terms of an interview. So he said in an interview before with Ramsdale Ray, he had no hesitation to summon a goalkeeper. You needed to do what you needed to do to bring a trophy into the club that day. We found disastrously, and it all stemmed from me in terms of that team. And I'm not saying Kepa was the reason why we lost it, but he's a big factor in terms of why we lost it. What I watched start that second half. Now you get to yesterday, yeah, right? And I actually liked the way Arteta set up the team yesterday. There's something that sticks in my mind, mate. Pep Guardiola on the sideline. Mate, he's literally, yeah, right, mugging you off to your face about the ball, the tapping of the ball and all that, and all this, yeah, right? If that was Jurgen Klopp, Arteta would have gone back at him. Arteta wouldn't have took it. We've seen it at Anfield. Arteta won't take it. Do you know what I mean? He'll give it back. He'll get involved. He just stood there. He just stood there. And I'm like, this is the reason, yeah, right, Man City think they can just walk all over us. And they can just walk all over us, sadly. And they have just walked all over us. And it fucking hurts. It fucking hurts. We're put up with, yeah, right, in the space of a month, yeah, them beating us in a cup final. And I'll tell you what, right, that journey back through Wembley Way was awful. Because I'll tell you another thing, right? All them Man City fans, they didn't stay there to watch their team pick up the cup. Well-known fans, yeah, right, who sit in that Sky studio, yeah, right, were down that Wembley Way with all us lot, mugging us off. Yeah, right. They then do the bottle incident. Yeah. They then have bottles outside the stadium yesterday. They have a banner up against us.
Yeah.
And we just allow them to do it. And I'm not sitting there thinking, give it back to him. Don't take it. Do you know what I mean? Have it out. You want your team to be like that on the pitch. This is the big game, mate. Stop showing this bloke too much respect. Because I tell you what, yeah, right, all he's going to do is take your Carabao Cup. He's going to take your Premier League title. Yeah, right.
Hmm.
And he's going to sit there and say nice things about you in the old interview and go, yeah, what a team Arsenal are. Lovely team, brilliant team. Like, can't. It will just talk absolute everything to you. But actually, it's another season where you haven't won anything because actually he's just mugging you off, basically. And he is mugging you off. He is mugging you off. He knows he can do that to you on the sideline, and you're just going to stand there and smile at him because actually you work for him. Nah. He needed to go back at him for me. He needed to go back for him to me. And do you know what, right? If you do some things like that, right, you might get more spike on your pitch spike on the pitch as well. And I just feel at the moment, yeah, right, that I didn't still see enough yesterday in terms that I thought we could beat Man City, even in the second half. We did create chances. We did create some chances, which we should have took, yeah, right? But when I watched that first 15 minutes in the second half, I didn't see anything different, mate, in terms of what I've seen time and time again this season. I see a team that just wanted to sit in there and defend and just hope that they could counter-attack team. Yeah. And I said this for quite a few months of the season, and I could be wrong, yeah, I could be wrong. And I hope 100% I'm wrong and I'm totally egg on my face. I said that we needed to go and win that game yesterday. We needed to make a statement victory. We didn't go and beat Aston Villa at Aston Villa. We didn't go and beat Liverpool at Liverpool. Do you know what I mean? We have now not gone and beat Man City at Man City. We didn't go and beat 10-men Chelsea at Chelsea. We beat Man United first game of the season, but that was a totally different Manchester United team to the team now. And if we're being honest, if anything, we lost to Manchester United at home.
Yeah.
So we haven't made no really statement all season long in the Premier League. We're sitting on top because Liverpool have imploded disastrously.
And City at a slow start.
Chelsea decided to bring like the head teacher into the club. That, do you know what I mean? No offense, Gab, but me and you spoke, is absolutely out of his depth. Manchester United went in absolute turmoil until they brought Michael Carrick in. And actually, if they probably brought Michael Carrick in 2 months before, we might even have a competition in terms of even do we finish in second place. Do you know what I mean? But the performances haven't been there. The only performances I can recall this season where I sat there and thought, do you know what, that was comfortable, yeah, right? Leeds at home, Nottingham Forest at home. The two, I'd say the Tottenham game at home was very, very impressive. The Tottenham away in the second half, definitely, but I thought we was actually quite good in the first half. So I'd say the two Tottenham games. So I'd say 5 games that I sat there and thought really comfortably, and Aston Villa in the second half, even though I thought we was really bad in the first half at the Emirates. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I look at them games and I think that's it. And then I look at, why can we play Tottenham and go and attack them in both our home and away games and have no fear? We go into our biggest rival, Tottenham Hotspur. And I know they're in the bottom 3 and people are going to go, well, they're in the bottom 3, they're rubbish. But we haven't gone anywhere else this year and played like that from the first minute. We went to Tottenham and we actually literally were battering them off the pitch. And then we went 1-0 up and we conceded the most shittiest goal like we do. Right. And in the second half, we put in a really comprehensive performance. But I want to understand why we can do that against Tottenham Hotspur, but we can't do it against any other team. Do you know what I mean? And before we talk about Martin Odegaard, he was on the bench that day. I'd say the Leeds performance away is another good performance this season, to be fair. Yet again, Martin Odegaard was on the bench. So it doesn't necessarily mean because Martin Odegaard's not in this team that we can play like that, because we've proven we can play like that. Do you know what I mean? But we've got this underbelly that says to us that we need to be playing scare tactic football. And we're just so worried about conceding a goal that we've forgotten about everything else that we can do. And now we're going to go into the most crucial part of the season, actually looking to outshoot Man City in terms of the goal scoring department. Have I lost total belief? Of course I haven't, because it's mathematically possible. And I think as long as the points are level, it can happen. I think we have got the kind of fixtures, and I think that we have got the players to be able to score goals. But how's Arteta now going to literally flick that switch when he hasn't been able to do it all season? And this is where I think that Mikel Arteta does deserve criticism, and I think he deserves a lot of criticism because actually you've had the opportunity to do something massive and you're scrambling to get over a line at the moment. You have been backed, you have been supported with some players. Do you know what I mean? We can't sit there and moan because someone like Julian Timber's out. Do you know what I mean? That's not a justifiable argument because actually Gardaval's out. He's out for Man City. They didn't have no Diaz. Do you know what I mean? But and if we're looking at it, they probably played a weaker defence than what we played. If we're being totally honest here, yeah, right. You look at their defence, look at our defence, and you think actually, as a defence, I'd probably fancy our defence over their defence. But we don't. We got nothing in the attacking third where they've got everything in the attacking third to make things happen. And he hasn't given them players the confidence to actually play this style of football that we were used to a year, 2 years ago. And I don't understand why are we playing this way in games against Bournemouth? Why are we letting Bournemouth attack us for like 80% of the game? Why are we struggling against Wolverhampton at home? Do you know what I mean? Where we literally got into the last 10 minutes of that game and we just totally froze. And they scored, and we were lucky to score again. And then we did the same thing, exactly the same thing away to Wolves. We go 2-0 up and then totally freeze. So is this a mentality from the players, or is it a mentality from the manager, or is it actually there's anxiety in that dressing room that's stemming onto that pitch because it doesn't seem to get rectified?
I think I said this after the Bournemouth game during at the end of the watch, before the end of the watch long and all that full time. I said, I think it's main manager because he's over the 4 attempts of going for a title. I mean, say last year's attempt, it wasn't really, but either which way, just whatever. If he messed this up, he's the main consistent of it all. We've had obviously with first attempt we had obviously Ramsdale, Rob Holdings. It was a completely different squad, and he is the main consistent throughout it all. He's surpassed that season, the following season, last season, and now this season. And again, we talk about him being heavily backed. He was heavily backed this summer with a new sporting director, heavily backed, and every department behind the left wing, but every other department was addressed and covered the way he wanted. He wanted Noni. We wouldn't have got Noni. He wanted a striker. He wanted Sesko. Bert said, "No, this is the guy you go for because I've watched you play for a few games, and this is if you play the way you went to. This is the guy you go for." And Victor Gyökeres. This is amazing defender and Mascara. Bring him in. Do this, do that. There's a guy in terms of a Capier. He's been heavily backed now to beyond belief. And as I say, he's the main consistent of it all. Of all these failings we're having for the last, potentially, depending on how the season ends, assuming, it's not trying to be positive, but assuming it doesn't go the way we all want it, and we end up yet again with nothing, he's the main consistent. Like it or not, that is the matter of fact. He is the main consistent. And I said this earlier in the stream. 2 seasons ago, losing out to the City by that point or two, or if it was in the last day of the season, after going gun ho, and it was like this is the annoying thing about that season. The way we've been playing since that season, we were playing like that the first half of that season. It was only after we went to Dubai and the backlash they were getting because we were just teetering on the edge of we could be in the title race, we couldn't be because it was about between us, Liverpool, and City at the time. It was from the Palace game onwards back into January where we just came back and let loose, and that's where we put that run together. We was it one draw and the defeat to Villa was only 2 points we dropped, and it still wasn't good enough. But it's for whatever reason it's scarred him to the point where he's gone backwards and gone actually going to play the way we did for the first half of that season and never track back and never go back to all that attack. we've been saying it this season. Most of the players from that couple of years, from last season before, are still here. We know what they're capable of. We know if they're allowed to play with the freedom and the swagger that we know they're capable of, we can blow teams apart. We empty stadiums that season.
Yeah.
Week in, week out at one point. So for me, it's him that's holding this team back. No matter what he's saying and doing on the touchline, he's clearly saying and doing something behind the scenes that we don't know that's holding this lot back now.
It's a risky game, isn't it? It's a risky game because actually, like, we're sitting here talking about him and like what could happen and what might happen, not winning something. But then in the same sentence, he could still win the Premier League and the Champions League. But for me, like, he's got to make a major decision now in terms of like how does he play this out for the rest of the season? Because I'll be totally honest, Joe. What I see yesterday, I did go away and think there are quite positives in terms of that performance. That actually, if we played to that press and raise the level, game in, game out, I don't see teams like Newcastle, West Ham, Crystal Palace, Burnley, and Fulham being able to cope with that. And I tell you really what is kind of key here, mate, and I think this really works in our favour a little bit, right, which no one's really discussing at the moment. If we do go and beat Newcastle and actually beat Fulham, yeah, right, we're 6 points ahead of them, and then they got the pressure of going to Everton.
Away, yeah.
Away. And this is why, yeah, right, Mikel Arteta, like, and this, it does worry me a little bit because I can see him looking at a Newcastle game and thinking, I'm going to go pretty much the same as I've done all season because I think he'll be sitting there thinking, I just need to get a win in this game. And I do get that he does need to get a win in that game. But for me now, yeah, right, he's got to stick with what we had yesterday. Now, I don't think Gyökeres will start on Saturday. I think Havertz will start up top again on Saturday because I think one of the things I always remember with Newcastle and Havertz was that he had that really good game when we beat him 4-0 under the lights. And I think he will do that on Saturday, personally. Whether I agree with that, it doesn't really matter. But I think on Saturday, I think it'd be kind of too risky to play them both. I think moving into the Fulham game, I think that's when you start looking at, actually, can we adapt Gyökeres into the side as well? But he needs to have probably the biggest game of his season on Saturday. And I know we keep saying that game in, game out, and every game does get bigger. But the reason I say that is he needs a performance with it. He don't just need a win. He needs a performance with it. He needs them players to feel good about themselves again. Like, they're probably feeling absolute shit in themselves. Like, they've gone and lost to Southampton. They've gone and lost to Bournemouth. They've scraped a 0-0 draw at home to Sporting, and then they go and lose to Man City. Do you know what I mean? Like, but he's not now in that situation where he can just get away with winning a game 1-0. And think, oh, yeah, great, because them players, that won't fill them players any confidence. They need to go there Saturday and put in a fucking performance. Obviously, everyone needs to turn up again. There's no point feeling sorry for yourself on Saturday whatsoever. And that's players, fans, and manager, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've got to get like that stadium pumping on Saturday. And it doesn't need Mikel Arteta to tell you to bring your fucking lunch and dinner whatsoever. Yeah. And I find that cringy. Like, if you've got a ticket to that game, you're fortunate enough to be going to games in the title race where there's probably 40, 50, 60, 70,000 fans that can't get a ticket for that game. Do you know what I mean? But he needs to focus on what he needs to do, and the fans need to focus on what they need to do. And I just don't think we get away with, like, an Everton performance on Saturday where you score an 89th minute winner. Do you know what I mean? It didn't breed the confidence we thought it'll breed. Because the performance wasn't there. And he needs to do something different. And this is my biggest issue, that he keeps going back to the same old bases. And this is why I say that I think, actually, in my head, him dropping Subamendi and letting Declan Rice in that 6th role and letting the shackles off a little bit and giving the Odegaard Havertz potentially with Eze one side, then I don't know. Look, it's going to be Daman or Madueke. Do you know what I mean? It probably is going to be Madueke within October. Whether I agree with that or not, that's probably what it's going to be. Do you know what I mean? And then have a Victor up front. Why not do it? Why not do it? Do you know what I mean? Like, You've got to win games, Dave. You've got to get your strikers scoring goals. Look, Victor goes away to Sweden. He's banging in goals left, right, and centre. Now, I know international football is not as great as the Premier League, but at the same time, the guy's a killer. If he gets half a chance, the likelihood is he's going to score a goal. The problem is his XG this season is probably about 21, if we're being totally honest, and he's got 18 goals, and that tells you absolutely everything you need to know.
Yeah, but this is, again, we said this at the time in terms of the aftermath of Southampton and all that. Like, for me, I didn't get why I got dropped to the Southampton game. I know we had a game against Lisbon and all that, but you just come up from the qualifying at the international break. He just single-handedly qualified his country for the World Cup. He's on an all-time high, and you've just gone, on the bench. And then when you do bring him on, he scores. And then 5 minutes later, you're bringing up the person who create the goal for him. So, and then obviously yesterday, I can't, because of how things have gone since the international break, I kind of agreed that it needed to be on the bench with Kai up top because of the magnitude we put ourselves in.
Yeah,
it did work to an extent, but personally, I would have brought him on a bit earlier, but I would have kept Kai on as well, along with Eze and Odegaard. And that's gone for it yesterday.
Do we think that the Eze substitution's inexcusable?
No, it didn't make no sense to me. Me and Catherine sat here and was like, "How is that possible? Why is he doing that?" He's been in terms of the options, in terms of out of your left wingers. I mean, the midfield, like your attackers and midfielders and all that. He was our best player. He was genuinely asking questions of the defence and goalkeeping. If it weren't for the post, he would have scored a goal.
Mm.
He was there because he was consistent being a nuisance to him. 1-0 Palace.
Oh, that's a big goal, isn't it?
I'm just having a look now. Oh, I think it's been disallowed. 1 sec, just waiting to see. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's been disallowed handball. So 0-0 still. Yeah, he was our best player. Again, we're sitting there like, because we're seeing obviously who better come on and think, who's coming on for it? Like, obviously, with Ben White, it made sense with Mikel because Mikel's on the booking, and it was clear they were targeting him more and more and more. And as a young lad, he's going to get at some point naffed off and potentially get himself sent off. He can't afford to do that, so that made sense. But me and Catherine was like, okay, so maybe Odegaard, maybe it's just his first game back after a while. It makes sense. He hasn't been really awful, but at the same time, it's his first game. And when we saw Eze, it made no sense. It still makes no sense because as I say, he was our best player. He was the driving force between the midfield and the attack, and he, in the sense of every time he got the ball, he looked to strike fear into the Man City defence, and fans, basically, even the fans were like, at one point.
This is the kind of decisions, isn't it, that absolutely leave you dumbfounded. That actually, was he kind of thinking in himself, do you know what, I'll take a 2-1 defeat here. Like, I'm not saying that that's what he wanted, but I'm saying in his head, he's just thinking, I just don't want to concede no more goals at this point. Damage limitations is that we just lose by 1.
If we hadn't lost, I could understand it to an extent. Maybe if we hadn't lost to Bournemouth the following week and we hadn't just given away a 3 points of our 9-point lead the previous week, and in worst case, if we again not done that and obviously losing yesterday would have kept us 6 points ahead still. As painful and annoying as it would have been, you could go, okay, if that's the reason why you've done it, whatever, cool, we move on. We've got 5 games, let's finish this enough now. Anyway, it's the fact we did mess up the week before.
Yeah.
And it's just, you can't afford to do that, especially when everyone has been going into the plant. I'm calling them a plant because obviously, I don't know if you saw literally at full time, bang, the camera's on him again, and there's more footage of him on social media. It's pissing me off. So he's clearly a fucking plant by the club or media or whatever, doing his thing, and the fact that the fans are turning up with the bottles of water, and then Kirkland taking the label off and putting a new label on with Arsenal badge on it and all that, taking the piss out of us. that wouldn't stand with me in terms of I'm like, we ain't got a game midweek either. So for me, it's as much as I'm saying I can understand it did X, Y, and Z, but actually no, I can't understand either which way, because the revival, obviously Man City fans alone, are ripping into us all week on match day as well. It's publicly put out on social media. Your players and everyone in the club are well linked with us on social media. We've showed you that, and you've still, as we've mentioned before, shown too much respect, as far as I'm concerned. This is a game we for me, we needed to get something out of yesterday's game.
Yeah.
And he should have gone for at least a bare minimum of a draw. Because he said then it's still in our hands, so to speak, if that makes sense. Whereas now it's like it's in our hands, kind of. It's a matter of who blinks first now and who outscores who. But I will say this: if we play like we did yesterday against Atletico as well, because this is one thing we haven't really touched on, is the Champions League. Like, everyone's been doom and gloom in the world. It's the end of the world. We see it on social media every fucking week. Whenever we have a bad performance or a bad result, it's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. Me and you mentioned it this morning. We've got Champions League semi-final, guys and girls. We're part of the Final Four for the first time in our history. Back-to-back seasons, part of the Final Four. We've got a huge chance here to get to our first final in 20 years, and parts of our fan base are having a meltdown.
Are you confident we can get to the final?
Based on yesterday's performance, I know the result didn't go away, but based on the way we performed yesterday, just what we got, if we can play like anywhere near that or better, then yeah. If we revert back and go, no, everything's against us.
I think if we go out and play like that, I watched both the Barcelona games, and I've got to be honest with you, Barcelona battered them over two legs. Like, Atletico good at sticking in there though, and the red cards.
The red cards helped as well.
The red cards were the big decision makers, mate. Because I think even in the second game, if that red card doesn't get given, Barcelona could easily get the next goal. So I don't think Atletico Madrid. I'm not worried about going to Atletico Madrid, and because I've just seen what we've just done yesterday at Man City and the approach we took, and I think if we put that same approach into that game against them, Man City have got a lot more players on the pitch that can kind of kill us in terms of their, like, you know, the Haalands, the Semenions, the Dokus, the Silvers, the Shirkies, where they've got obviously Alvarez, who couldn't even get into the Man City team. They've got an aging Griezmann, and they've got a Sorloth, who, do you know what I mean? I think Gabriel and Saliba should kind of be able to manage him. So I honestly think, mate, right, if we can get Yuri and Timber back for that semi-final, I think that's the big thing. Like, obviously Saka as well, if there's a possibility. I don't know if there is at the moment, but we can get them two players back, mate, and play like that. Then I think we will make our first Champions League final since 2006. And it's incredible, mate, because we're kind of forgetting about the Champions League. It's so weird that we're kind of forgetting about the Champions League whatsoever. But then we look at it and we think we could be we could be playing the showpiece final in the Champions League final
in Budapest,
and then but at the same point we're talking about actually, if Arteta gets to the Champions League final and loses that, we're talking about possibly letting him go as well. And like, there's only one manager who's ever got us to a Champions League final. Arsene Wenger, who's arguably our best ever manager of all. It's not even arguably; he's our best manager of all time. And you look at this, you think you're going to get to the Champions League final. Like, I'm going to be totally honest, yeah. I want Paris Saint-Germain to beat Bayern Munich, because I think I'd rather play Paris in the final. I think about things like the Lord of Averages as well. Do you know what I mean? We played them in the semi-final last year. They beat us. They've already won the Champions League. I think it's very hard to go back to back. So for me, I'm praying that if Paris beat Bayern Munich, I feel more comfortable. Do you know what I mean? I do feel more comfortable. I think playing Paris, and I watched Liverpool Paris at Anfield, and I think that even though they did impress me, Paris, like with their defensive performance, I do feel if Liverpool's decision making was better, which is quite ironic considering I'm talking about us. I think they can be got at Paris Saint-Germain, but they are an incredible side still. And whoever goes through to that final, out of Bayern and Paris, for me, will be favourites in that grand final. But I think that will suit us better. I think that will suit us better in some ways. But it's about how we apply ourselves, because we'll go into that final not knowing whether we're going to get another Man City performance in the final. Do you know what I mean? Or are we going to get that performance? Now, if we play like that, I think we've got every chance to get into the final, mate. And I think we deserve to be in the final, if I'm being totally honest. Yeah, Sporting wasn't great, but I think, like you said, I think there's a piece of him that he's kind of tried to manage energy levels and try to just get over the line to try and keep that resource for the Man City game. Well, I think in this semi-final against Atletico Madrid, mate, I think we can go to Madrid and get a result. I really, really do. We went to Inter Milan and got a result. Who were in the Champions League final last year. I know, like, they haven't done well this year, but we still went there and got a result. Do you know what I mean? I thought our performance in Sporting, especially in the second half, I thought we was the better team in the second half. I know they got stronger in the last 10 minutes, but we still went there and won the game. And we haven't lost a game in Europe all year, mate. We haven't lost a game in Europe all year. And I feel that European teams don't like playing us. I just don't think they like playing us whatsoever. And maybe we're just much more suited to the Champions League. And is this another way why he's playing the way? Because actually he knows it's the only way to win the Champions League.
Well, there's also, again, this season alone, like, if you look at our performance, you compare Europe, like how we perform in Europe and in domestically, it backs to what you say, like, we do perform better in Europe. We are better suited with the European format, because teams just go, most teams anyway, as we've seen this season, just open up and we'll go toe to toe with you, and it sort of benefits us. Like we saw in the league phase, when we played Atleticos and the and Bayerns and all that, and Inter away and all that. They're not afraid to do this open, expansive football. They don't do this low block, come and break us down. We're happy for a draw. Even with all due respect, the lower ranked teams, they actually come to play. And I think that helps us. That plays into our strengths a lot better than what we've been seeing in the league this season. Pardon me. That's the weird. This is why it's so hard early. We was asked the question about if we win nothing into the season, what do we do, sort of thing. Because there's a potential, and I stand by. I'm going to say it now. If we go to Madrid next week, isn't it, first leg? So if we go to Madrid next week, and we come out of that with a result, even if it's a draw, I think we do. We finish the job in the second leg. It's just about applying the right, not just mentality, but the right pressure at the right time and taking the opportunities, like you just mentioned there. And then again, get to the final back in Budapest. It's a one-off game. I think if it's PSG, I mean, no matter whoever we get in the final, if we get there, then whoever we get will be the favourites. But so the pressure will be off us in that sense as well. So because no one would be expecting us to do anything really, let's be honest. But I think if it was PSG, the players that were here last season that lost to PSG in the semi-final will be motivated to right the wrongs of last year.
Definitely. It's an intriguing game, though. That'd be a good game, to be fair. I think the only thing with Bayern Munich is, they've shown that actually defensively they're not that great. Like, they're not.
Someone said in the chat they lost to Lyon this week and as well 2-1, and Lyon are nowhere near what.
Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying that I don't think Bayern Munich, like Real Madrid, put 3 goals in past. Like Real Madrid are a great team still, like with great players, but
they're not. Again, they're not Madrid. They're
not the Madrid of old. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And they still score 4 or 5 goals. And I just think that Arsenal are the only team that can kind of. Atletico can do it, but I don't think they can do it to our level. Because shut up shop. I honestly think, mate, that what I watched yesterday, I sat there and thought, you know what? If we play like that in Madrid, we come away with something. You can't tell me that Man City ain't 10 times better than that. 10 times better than Atletico Madrid. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at them all over the pitch. Okay, 10 times is probably a bit exaggerated a bit, but you know what I mean. Yeah, but you look at Man City all over the pitch. They're like we was quite fortunate that actually they got knocked out of the Champions League early because I wouldn't want to play them in the final. They're probably the one team that I wouldn't want to play in the final. because like, let's be honest, it would just go against us. But if we play like that and we get the like rubber of green, I think we can go there and get a result. Whether that's a draw, whether that's a victory, I think we can set ourselves up nicely at home. Do you know what I mean? We just got to be compact. We've got obviously so many of Rice will play that game, and I totally expect them to play that game. But look, I think you have to go out there and play. I think Gyökeres will have to sit on the bench in that game, whatever happens. And this is why I think actually the Premier League games we might see a little bit more Gyökeres, because I think out there, I think we would ask Havertz to do what he did against Man City, and I feel more comfortable about that. Do you know what? I just pray we can get Timber back, and if we can get Saka back as well, like I think that would be a big plus as well. I did feel that we really missed Saka yesterday.
Yeah, but because he would have created a bit more on the right side as well.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that his creativity has been great this year, but do you know what? With him,
in big games, he does like to turn up as well and have that moment.
And he's good at holding the ball as well, mate. I think that's the difference. Madueke is not good with holding the ball. He'll get the ball and he'll have to do something with it there and then. Where Saka's actually really, really good. Doesn't matter where you got him in the pitch, whether it's a defensive third or attacking third, he's actually really good at holding it up. So yeah, I think it's a massive game, mate. It's a massive game. I don't think anything's really come out about Timber, has it? I don't really get it.
So touch on Atletico. I mean, they played at the weekend in the Copa del Rey final against Sociedad, and but went behind twice and lost on penalties. So again, they're there for
great defensively, mate.
No, they're not. Again, like we said, they're not built like they once were. And
mate, like we come to. I know, like it was a bit like the filler game, wasn't it? Atletico Madrid. That actually the second half we just absolutely ripped them to pieces. And I do feel that if we get into that situation at home, they have to open up. And the worst thing that's going to have to happen to them is actually opening up, because at that point, we'll just rip them to pieces.
Look what we did. Look what we did against them in the league phase at the Emirates. They tried the old low block monarchy. So the second they opened up, we put 4 past them in like under 20 minutes.
So, yeah, I think it's a good one, mate. I think it's an interesting one. I think it was quite an interesting result. I expected them to win the Copa del Rey, so that surprised me. Yeah, and Lookman and Stallov got injured as well, so they're fighting to be fit. But again, I think if you get Timber back, I think he manages that. Do you know what I mean? Keeping Cape in there, he manages that. So I think the Champions League is going to be an interesting situation, but we are kind of forgetting about it because everything else going on. So West Ham drew 0-0.
Yeah, drew 0-0. So
I don't think that's a bad result, to be fair.
No, I mean it's away from home, under the lights as well of Selhurst Park, and so again Palace with what they've been doing this week as well.
Who's West Ham's next game?
Everton on Saturday, 3:00 kickoff.
Oh, interesting. Spurs got Wolves away, didn't they? So what are they? 2 points ahead of Spurs now.
It's a 2-point gap, yeah. So they need to match Tottenham's result basically in the weekend.
I don't think Wolves away is easy for Tottenham whatsoever.
But Wolves are officially relegated as well, so it's as in because obviously the fact you can't catch West Ham now. So
yeah, so I tell you what kind of happening.
No fear. We've got nothing to lose now. It's a pride thing for Wolves now.
And actually, they've been performing all right at home, haven't they, Wolves?
Yeah. And obviously, Keith Andrews, or whatever his name is, the Wolves coach will be. He's been basically prepping them all since he's walked to the door for next season. So he'll want to end the season form-wise as best as possible. So they're prepared for next season in terms of trying to get themselves back at the first time of asking.
Do you think Spurs go down?
Yeah. I don't think they're built for it. I think the fan base ain't built for it. I think the players aren't built for this sort of situation. Whereas the teams around them, the West Hams historically are, in terms of fan base and personnel and as a club, they're built for it. Leeds are built for it. Forest are built for it.
I think that was a hard, tricky game for them tonight. Monday night game at Palace.
Monday night under the lights, and a clean sheet as well. They've got a clean. This is the thing with the other teams. Obviously, guys we've got to drive of Arsenal with, but this is the thing with again backs me up in terms of what I'm saying. Like, they're not built for it because Forest battered, but obviously went beyond, but battered Burnley in the second half, 1-4-1 there. So they're performing. They've got their managers coming after Rocky's start. He's settled things. He's getting performances and results. West Ham are getting performances and results. Even if it's draws like tonight, 0-0, but it's clean sheets as well. Whereas Tottenham, you're not getting the performances, and you're also not getting the results. You thought you got the result. You overwent it. And when you got that goal in the 77th minute, it was like the last kick of the game sort of celebrations. You sort of, great, we scored. Okay, cool. You sort of, the mentality was, and you switched off, and what happened. And I think what was key for me, seeing when that equaliser went in, with the players bursting, literally with 5 minutes to go, bursting into tears, instead of just going, right, dust ourselves down, let's go again. It was just what do we do? Where is us? They're not built for it, and the fan base ain't built for it. I mean, we're seeing fans on YouTube on watch-alongs walking off set before the whistle.
I've just looked at the fixtures, and they're interesting reading, mate. Like,
I mean, Tottenham buying Wolves this weekend, and even though Wolves are gone,
Tottenham they've got to beat Wolves to give themselves half a chance.
But after that, it's like, where's the win coming from?
Well, they've got Aston Villa away. That's bloody hard.
Mm-hmm.
Leeds at home. Leeds are fucking in great form, mate. To be fair.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even. Do you know what I wouldn't put past Leeds beating Chelsea in the FA Cup this weekend, mate.
Yeah.
At the moment, Chelsea Tottenham. Jesus.
Penultimate game as well. The second to last game of the season.
And then Tottenham Everton.
Where's that win? It's not just a win.
They have to win at Wolves. They have to win at Wolves.
They have to win at least 2 games, as it stands. At least 2 games.
They're going to have to win 2. I don't think West Ham games are easy as well. Like Brentford away, West Ham need to beat Everton as well. That's not going to be easy because I think Everton are a well-drilled side this year. I think it'll be an interesting weekend next weekend. I think West Ham need to get that home win though. They got Brentford, then they got us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's not what you want really, but it is what it is. I think that's the game that we need to watch out on. This
is why I'm sort of I'm hoping they get the next 2 games result-wise.
Newcastle away. Well, do you know? It's not easy. It's an awful game to have, but actually, Newcastle pretty much. I think
normally that wouldn't be ideal, but
and West Ham Leeds are probably Leeds at that point are probably safe. So
yes, maybe.
I can see West Ham and Tottenham both winning their last games because I think the teams be safe and be on the thing. So I can both see them doing that. I think it all depends on the 4 games before that.
You've upset Gav, by the way.
Well, mate, mate, you can't sit there telling me that you want this geezer out and then you're confident that your name's on the FA Cup, mate. You just can't do that, bruv. You can't do that. You got to stick one side or the other side, mate. So, yeah, I think just my kind of final thoughts on everything. I think it's not over. It's not over. Of course, it's not over, mate. It all depends how we navigate Saturday's fixture. Do you know what I mean? And we need to go out there and put in a performance. It's we can't be struggling to a 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? We need to go. We need to be putting a decent performance together now. And actually, it might help the players a little bit. Yeah, right. Not actually being in the box seat, but as I said to you, mate, I do think if we beat Newcastle and beat Fulham, and we're 6 points ahead of them again. Obviously, they've got 2 games in hand. They've got to go to Everton on a Monday night.
Under the lights as well.
Under the lights. And actually, if we could rack up some goals, it'll make it even better. Do you know what I mean? So, these 2 games are vital to win, but vital to get a nice goal buffer because we don't know what they're going to get at Burnley on Wednesday. Do you know what I mean?
Just on that one.
That's the problem. But you want to put that pressure on them, mate, because the other thing that we haven't discussed, Roger went off that pitch, didn't he?
Yeah, there's been no. Obviously, I think they're playing Wednesday, aren't they? So probably be a press conference tomorrow. And they'll probably get more of an idea. If he's out tomorrow on Wednesday, sorry, if it was genuine and he has actually hurt himself, that's a groin injury. That's what they're saying on Sky. That's a 2 to 3 week period of need just to recover, not before you even play back on the pitch. And like you say, Everton under the lights on a Monday night, and we've said it a few times tonight. They've got something to fight for themselves. They're fighting for European football spots, be it Conference League or Europa League at the moment. So they're not going anywhere. So they've got something, and so that's going to be Might have to do a hate watch on that one. And then obviously we mentioned Bournemouth again, another team away from home. I don't know if it's Wednesday nights or whatever, but away from home, fighting for European spot. We've just got, again, game by game, in between a huge semi-final in Europe, but we've just got to go out there on Saturday. Obviously, this Saturday first off, pick the right team, get the job done. 3 or 4 goals, a 3 or 4 goal win margin at the very least, and do the same. And then obviously do the first leg, come back from Madrid, deal with Fulham on the following weekend at the Emirates. Again, another 3 or 4 goal win margin. And then, as you say, by doing so, throw the pressure back onto Man City.
Yeah, exactly. Because I do think that them away games, be interesting how many they get at Burnley first and foremost, because that's going to give you a bit of a gist. Because what are they? Are they level? No, they're 1 goal behind us.
1 goal behind us because of the 2-1. Yeah.
1 goal behind us. So actually, if they win 3-0, they're 2 goals ahead of us, which is not tragic whatsoever, because we've got the Burnley game still in our thing, in our proper. Even if they won 4-0, 3 goals, I don't think that's tragic at present.
No, and like you say, we've got to play Burnley in the penultimate game of the season.
I do.
And by then they're gone. They'll be gone by then, mathematically. So I think we're just going, all right, bang.
I don't think they're going to batter Brentford. Brentford ain't got battered by anyone all year. Do you know what I mean?
No.
I look at a Palace game and I just don't know what to think of that game at the moment. We don't even know when it's going to get played. Do you know what I mean?
Catherine was looking into it yesterday, and when she was looking, it was saying it's going to look. It has to be at this point now, because obviously they're in the European semi-final themselves. It's going to have to be within that last week. It's got to be fitted in somehow in that last week, because you got semi-final. If they get through to the final, that's going to be played before the end. Was it before the end of the season, after the end of the season, for which way? So there's only one little slot they've got, and that's literally within that period of the penultimate game, what would be the penultimate game, and the last game. That's the only shot they've really got now.
What do you think? What do you think on Wednesday in terms of Burnley, Man City? How many do you reckon they'll beat by?
Oh, is it Burnley? I'm trying to remember.
Is that Burnley?
Is that Burnley?
Probably. I think they'll beat them, but I do think Rodri's a blow though, mate. Because even when he went off the pitch yesterday, even for that 10-15 minutes, we then got a lot of the ball.
If Rodri's missing, I say 2-0. If he's available, 3. Just because Burnley, I don't see Burnley scoring. So I can't see him putting it. I cannot see Burnley putting in a defensive masterclass. Sadly,
I've got a bad feeling 4-0, but I still don't think
it's
that's
not in the world.
If we still got the Burnley game at home.
They'll be ahead of us by 3 goals, and we have to make up on Saturday. And going forward, we just have to make up ourselves. But just trying to have a look now.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think, mate, that the 2 home games in a row kind of helps us if we do win the games, that we can start making them games up. And then they've got Everton. Everton are a well-drilled team, David Moyes' team. They're not going to roll over. Do you know what I mean? Whatsoever.
No, someone's asking about the Fulham game. Fulham game's a 5:30 kickoff on Sky, not a 3 o'clock kickoff.
What's the West Ham? That's 4:30, isn't it?
That's a Sunday. I think it's a Sunday. I have to double check now. On app.
That game is massive.
4:30 on a Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, massive game.
So we've got Fulham on the 2nd of May, bank holiday weekend. Tuesday the 5th, obviously home leg, and then on the 10th of May is a 4:30 kickoff. And I'm hoping, as I say, league-wise, I'm hoping West Ham can get at least 4 points out of the next 6 before going into our game and have a bit of a buffer between us, a bit of a buffer between them and that other team. Otherwise, that's a bit painful game to fucking watch, potentially, because they're going to go, we'll protect it, we'll go for a nil then.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting. That's the game, mate. That's the big game. That is the killer game for us, I think, in terms of this running. It's that game, isn't it?
Win that. I think
actually 3 of our next 4 games are home games.
Yeah, one of them, that third one, that third and final one is against Burnley, who will be gone by then. You would assume, even if they're gone or not by then, they will be. We'll just go, okay, 4 or 5, whatever. Just fuck off, go away. It's just again the West Ham game. We can come out of there with 3 points. Yeah, I think it goes. If we do that, it goes down to the last game of the season, and depends on how Man City do their end. But yeah,
City play Palace in on the 22nd. That's it.
It's not been confirmed though. That's the thing. It's not been confirmed.
The 22nd, 24th Sunday though.
That's what I'm saying. Like I looked at the Man City website yesterday. It was saying nothing. Two can be confirmed, and literally the 22nd is a Friday. There's no way.
Down 21st. But 21st.
Because the final game of the season is everyone plays on a Sunday on the 24th. There's no way they're going to throw a game of that potentially of that magnitude if it's a do or die still for the title 48 hours before the final game of the season, because that would benefit us, because they could potentially drop points in that game or in the final game against Villa.
Yeah,
meant that physically there's not quick enough turnaround either. Because if it's a Friday, that's a Friday night. They're not even getting 48 hours respite before the next game. So it'd have to be. You was looking at say 20th, or even my birthday or the 21st, basically. But we'll wait for the official confirmation and go from there.
It does say 22nd of May on here.
Or on the Man City website.
Oh, that's the women's football, guys. That's what you're looking at.
I
was going to say that was a weird old time. Man City, that's women's football.
But yeah, it will be some point during that week, that final week. It's got at this point because Palace.
Actually, I might not be wrong. No, I'm wrong there. I'm absolutely wrong. He's right. It literally says on the screen 22nd of May, which it cannot be.
Literally.
The game between has not yet been screwed. Google lists the fixture on Friday, May the 22nd at 3 p.m.
It can't be 3 p.m. It's a Friday.
Yeah, I think it will be that week though.
It'll be in that period.
It'll probably be the 20th. There's no way it's 22nd of May on a Friday afternoon.
Before we go, I'll have another look on the Man City website and the Palace website. See if either one's giving us any details. One sec. Just let me bear with me a sec. So no, on the Man City website it says to be confirmed.
The UEFA Cup the UEFA Cup finals before the last game of the season. Actually, it's Conference League final. That's the Wednesday after the season. So if anything, Palace will have to rest players against us. Who did Palace get in the UEFA?
I'm going on their website now, so I'll have a look in a sec.
They got Shakhtar the next, didn't they?
I'm going to have a look now. One sec. Fixtures, that's the one. Here we go. So yeah, Shakhtar Donetsk, and they've got Liverpool this weekend. Yeah, Liverpool this weekend, and then they've got Shakhtar next Thursday away. Bournemouth, then the home leg against Shakhtar. Everton, Brentford, then us, and even on their website, the Man City game says to be confirmed.
Yeah, they were playing that last week. Yeah, it goes to last week.
It's got to be. It's going to have to be between the Brentford and us, basically. Yeah, so they play Brentford on the 17th on the Sunday, 17th of May, and obviously the final game of the season is a week later. So it's going to have to be a potentially Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, one of them days, basically.
Yeah. Wow, interesting times ahead.
Then, as I say, if they get past Shakhtar, and then the final, as you say, with that final being after they play us.
I think Palace should beat Shakhtar the next over 2 legs.
Especially, the second leg's at home as well, so if they can get.
They knocked out the best team. I thought was going to be Fiorentina.
They knocked out Fiorentina as well. So they've just got to go to Shakhtar, come out of a result, or be in a tie still, take it back to Selhurst like they did with Fiorentina, and do the job.
Do you think Palace get to the final?
Well, going by the knocking out Fiorentina, I can't see why not. It just depends on them actually performing and not going hiding, basically. But yeah, going by the fact that they did knock out Fiorentina, who famously in this competition love it since it's been created.
Yeah, I think they'll give him a lot. I think getting Arteta back's big for them, innit? Like,
yeah.
So,
and having that again, having the second leg at home is going to be key under the lights as well at Selhurst, as we always.
Yeah, it'd be a great game. That'd be a good game to watch. That.
If the tie still, if they're obviously assume they get something from the first leg.
What about Forest versus Villa?
Oh, that's the tough.
I tell you, mate,
it's a derby, isn't it? I think it's a derby as well.
What?
It's a Midlands derby as well. So it's
that's messy, mate. That is messy.
Just a bit, because obviously, yeah, Villa.
We really need Forest to go through, mate. So Villa are playing for something. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because of the other thing is, if obviously, what was it? People were saying today, if Villa got to the final and won it, but they finished fifth in the league. That would get the team in sixth Champions League football.
I don't think Aston Villa's a great last game to have, mate, at home. To be honest, yeah.
Well, last season, this is the thing. Last season, we all thought last season all they had to do is win at Old Trafford, and they fluffed the lines. They literally fluffed the lines. So
yeah, Martinez is a go. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, exactly. United manager. What could be worse?
Exactly.
Oh dear.
Right, score predictions. So, what are you going for Saturday?
Based on the fact that not just how what we've discussed tonight, how we've been, or how we were yesterday, performance-wise. Based on how the one thing I haven't really touched on tonight is how bad things are at Newcastle with the fan base and Eddie Howe and the performances. Where are they in the league? Newcastle, once they're at the bottom of the table, I think.
It does worry me still, though, mate. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh yeah, obviously because of the situation we find ourselves in form-wise, obviously every game's going to worry us. But
mate, they're 14th now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're 3 before tonight's game, 3 points away from West Ham.
Jesus.
I think we can. I'm gonna go for. Bite me on the arse every time I do this, but I'm gonna go for a confident 4-0.
I'm gonna go 3-1.
I just can't see any. Again, going by what I'm seeing of Newcastle recently in the last few weeks, I can't see any. I can't see who scores for them because Wesley and what was it on Saturday against Bournemouth? This was Newcastle at home, by the way. Wesley didn't start, didn't play at all. Vortemada, who started the season on a high note, has gone missing since the Sunderland away game, the first at Derby.
It's quite interesting.
He didn't play either. Everything's fallen apart for him.
Do you know what? Right, what's interesting? Every team we play is from the 12th or below from now to the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man City have got to play the team that are 4th, the team that are 7th, the team that are 8th, the team that are 10th.
Teams I've got something to fight for.
It's still not over yet, mate. It's still not over, and just looking at the goal differences, yeah, right. This season, it doesn't look like many teams are getting smashed either. Like I'm just looking at Everton a +1, Bournemouth a 0, Brentford a +4, Fulham a -3, Newcastle a -3, West Ham a -17. And Burnley obviously a -33. So
I've seen some Dan in the chat.
And that's the Villa +6.
If City beat Southampton in the semi-finals on the weekend, their Bournemouth game will have to be moved as well to midweek.
I think they'll get moved to the midweek before, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but that means it'll be under the lights as well. If it's midweek, it's at night time.
Yeah, right? I'd like that. This is what I'm saying, mate. Like, actually, right, we're going to be playing ahead of them all the time. So actually, the pressure's going to be on them a little bit, like especially if we got the 6-point lead when we beat Newcastle and Fulham,
yeah.
Their next 2 games after that, Everton and Brentford. So, do you know what I mean? Like that Everton game's tough, but do you know what I mean? We're playing ahead all the time. So
and again, it's two teams. Talk about Brentford. It's 2 teams fighting for European football.
Yeah, we'll be chasing. We won't be chasing. We won't. The pressure should be less, if anything, than more. The pressure comes when you're playing second and you've got to win. Do you know what I mean? You've got to do it. Do you know what I mean? That's when the mentality changes a bit. And actually, they're going to be playing behind us now all season long.
Till the last game, and it was in sync. And the last game,
pretty much. Apart from the West Ham game, they're going to be playing behind us. So, do you know what I mean? Just get the points on the ball, get the wins, get the goals, and then see where that takes us. Because actually, we have got the less placed teams than what they've got.
Yeah,
but you've got to go out there and do it, ain't you?
This is what I was saying earlier. I'd rather have our 5 fixtures and rather have our 5 that we've got than the 5 that they've got.
I do worry about Saka though, whether we'll see him again this season.
It's just a cloak and dagger thing. It's concerning me in terms of why you're not telling us what exactly has gone wrong.
Yeah.
And also another question needs to be asked as well, because obviously we've had the international break. We've not seen him since the international since the final. Why did you send him on? Why did you send him to the England camp, knowing the situation? Clearly, there's a situation in the aftermath of the final, but you've sent him to England setup. It's the England setup that had to send him back with Rice not saying, "Nah, they're not fit enough. They're on the verge of going or whatever." We've not seen him, not seen or heard of him since. What could you give us something?
It does worry me. But I just think that the first thing is you get Timber back. I think Timber's a must, mate. I think Timber's the kind of player, mate, that won't even. He'll just settle straight back in straight away. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He won't. He's just that player, mate. He won't need loads of minutes, mate. He'll just settle straight back in. And actually, when you've got him back and you've got all the defenders back, then actually, like, I think we've got the defence for now to the end of the season. It's just about, like, can we fine tune that strike? We just need to fine tune it and keep Odegaard fit.
Yeah,
that's easier said than done.
Especially with Arsenal this season, yeah.
Anyway, thanks for tonight, mate. I feel a little bit more optimistic than that probably did before the show.
Same here, to be honest.
I hope everyone else down who's in the chat, obviously, thank you very much for jumping on. It was good to kind of obviously just catch up, discuss all things Arsenal. Yeah, and just think of the positives in terms of moving forwards and what we can do in terms of worrying about absolutely anything else. Anything, what you got lined up this week, Ryan?
That's what I think. Because women's game until Sunday. Because we've got the semi-final first leg on Sunday for the girls against Lyon. We're covering that. Obviously Newcastle on Saturday. But there's nothing really going on during the week at the moment. I can't do it. I can't do a live hate watch for Man City because I know it's Burnley. Come on, guys, please.
I'm in Bristol. Except Wednesday and Thursday.
Don't ask me. Don't ask.
I'm not even going to watch it.
No, not worth it. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think there's something to do in terms of between now and then, in terms of fill some slots out.
Yeah,
I don't even know who's playing. Maybe I might be. I might even do a Leeds watch on for Tom. I don't know. Yeah, basically, mainly Arsenal wise, it's Saturday onwards, guys, from the men and women, because obviously, as I say, the international break for the girls, and they're just coming back. They've got a big Champions League tie on Sunday against Lyon, so if you can support the girls for that, that'd be fantastic as well. Oh dear! But apart from that, again, it's going to be a bit of a mixed match of what we're going to throw at you then, basically. But I'm not doing Man City. No, I cannot sit through that. Hate watching.
Just turn your tellies off Thursday and just see.
Just chill. Go. I don't know. Go on Netflix or whatever sites, whatever apps or whatever you watch your streaming services on. Put a film on and kill a few hours doing it like that. Rather than literally on your phone going. Oh dear, just stay away from Man City fans because there's a doing me head in.
Yes, absolutely.
I can't be bothered with them. But again, guys, not only is it not over, it could be worse. You could be a Tottenham fan.
As Scotty said when he first came in tonight.
Yeah.
Exactly. At least we're not in a relegation battle. There you go.
Karma. I'm telling you now, what they're going through this season and what they could, what I think is going to happen, touch wood, hopefully it does, is karma for 2 years ago. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. I need some pleasure in my life.
I'll say nothing to that.
We'll leave that one there. But no, thank you very much, everyone, for coming on tonight. And we'll see you again soon. Good night.